Top 10 Macabre marijuana murders. To many, Mary Jane appears to be innocuous. The business behind the high is another story. Viciousness follows underground markets, and as long as restriction continues, individuals will murder for the item and its benefits. Slaughter torment the lawful market also. Cash pulls in insatiability, voracity breeds brutality, and pot inspires murder. 10 crazy drugs you don't know, and don't want to. 10 Riverside County bloodbath. While California may have legitimized cannabis in 2018, a bootleg market keeps on flourishing, alongside the related savagery. On September 7, Riverside County police showed up at a home in Awanga and found 6 individuals dead from shots. An unidentified female casualty was alive and raced to the clinic, where she later passed on. Examiners found the indications of an unlawful pot developing activity at the property on the edge of Cleveland National Forest. This was an exceptionally huge activity, an extremely composed wrongdoing kind of activity, noted Sheriff Chad Bianco. There were many cannabis plants, a make-move nursery, a research center for butane extraction of THC, and in excess of 1,000 pounds of handled pot. These passings bring the all-out of illicit Mary Jane activity-related crimes in Riverside area this year to 14. These develops get gigantic measures of money. Without admittance to banks or police, they are practical objectives for predators. 9 Post Office Mama commercial. On September 23, 2019, a South Carolina mailman was discovered filled with .223 shots in her mail vehicle. Referred to lovingly as the mail center Mana, Irene Presley worked for the U.S. Postal Service for almost 20 years. Police captured Trevor Raekwon Seward, 22, and Jerome Terrell Davis, 28, for the silly butcher. Court reports claim the couple killed Presley, 64, at 3 p.m. with the goal to take a bundle of pot. A unique mark on one of Presley's packages followed back to Seward. Investigators claim Seward was seen holding an AR-15 in no time before the hour of the homicide. A third man, Ricky Jesus Rocha Barajas, 28, of Santa Rosa, CA, was accused of medication connivance. Examiners claim Barajas and Davis encouraged a medication exchange through phone upon the arrival of the homicide. Seward and Davis face no not as much as life whenever sentenced. Barajas could get 5 years in government jail. 8. South Bend self-defense. A medication bargain turned sour is trying the constraints of Indiana's self-protection laws. Nobody debates that on April 28, 2019, Traychon Taylor endeavored to burglarize Kyle Doroshko, 19, at gunpoint in the parking garage of a South Bend bar. Doroshko pulled his own firearm and slaughtered the looter. Investigators accused Doroshko of homicide, asserting that, since he was endeavoring to sell pot at the hour of the shooting, he can't fit the bill for self-preservation. Indiana law forestalls the utilization of self-preservation at the time a wrongdoing is being perpetrated, regardless of whether that wrongdoing is peaceful. Doroshko's lawyer, John Kindley, notes, "It is crazy to recommend that an individual whose life is compromised while the person is occupied with a peaceful movement the legislature esteems a wrongdoing, for example, selling cannabis or prostitution, should simply permit themselves to be executed, or be accused of homicide in the event that they effectively shield themselves." 7 Manhattan marijuana mayhem. On December 11, 2019, a Barnard rookie was cut to death in Manhattan's Morningside Park. Tessa Majors, 18, a Virginia local and performer, kicked the bucket of cut injuries to her face, neck, and arms. 2 14-year-olds, Rashawn Weaver and Luciano Lewis, and an anonymous 13-year-old were captured and accused of her homicide. During a meeting on AM 970's The Cats Round Table, Sergeants Benevolent Association President Ed Mullins uncovered, Majors was in the recreation center to purchase Mary Jane. He accused Mayor de Blasio's hands-off way to deal with pot policing for her demise. Significance family were dismayed by Mullins' flighty public theory and the profoundly improper demonstration of casualty disgracing. Brooklyn Public Protector Scott Heckinger called attention to the silliness of utilizing Major's demise to attack pot change. Regardless of whether she were buying drugs, sanctioning would have forestalled her need to go to the recreation center. She would have had the option to purchase from an authorized dispensary. 6 Hard, Wick, Luck. On May 26, 2020, an Oklahoma City man shot and murdered a thief attempting to break into his business. Police Major Sergeant Gary Knight clarifies, Daniel Hardwick, 42, was attempting to break in when the entrepreneur, who was inside the structure at the time, evidently started shooting with a handgun, striking and killing the man who was breaking in. In any case, LaRue Bratcher, 33, didn't possess only any business, it was a Mary Jane develop. It was around 480 plants, noted Knight, which comes out to roughly $1,500,000 of weed. Bratcher didn't have a development permit, which is a crime. At first, he was set up for a $5,000 bond, and accused of unlawful cannabis development. In any case, when the DA's office investigated the situation, they included an extra charge of second-degree murder. As per Corey Harris, Bratcher's closest companion, he was captured for his permit not being cutting edge. 10 Reasons the War on Drugs is Killing You. 5, Hitler and County. In December 2019, a pot vendor nicknamed Hitler conceded to a homicide for recruit plot. Marcus Etienne, 38, of St. Martin Parish, Louisiana, and correspondent, Mario Robinson, 36, of Opelousas, Louisiana, confessed to running an opiates appropriation organization. Etienne, who passes by Hitler, claims he ran the criminal endeavor since 2009. Investigators assert Hitler and co. had their hands in murder, murder for employ, opiates circulation, burglary, blackmail, tax evasion, weapon running, and canine battling. Etienne and Robinson confessed to killing partner Trins Thibodeau in 2016. Suspecting Thibodeau, 28, of taking from him, Etienne requested the hit. He paid Robinson $5,000 to kill Thibodeau. Robinson pivoted and paid Bert Gucci Rhodes $1,250 for the activity. Rhodes is being attempted independently. As per the request, Etienne transported weed to Texas and Louisiana through the postal assistance. For included loathsomeness, investigators raised the cold-hearted treatment the canines utilized in Etienne's betting undertaking got. 4 deadly investments indeed, even lawful pot can be savage. In the early long periods of October 1, 2019, attackers broke into the home of a cannabis business person while he rested, abducted him, and killed him. The next morning, the remaining parts of Tushar Uttra, 50, were discovered the next morning in the Santa Cruz Mountains, drooped in his sweetheart's white BMW, with a solitary discharge wound. In May, 4 people were captured and accused of the homicide. Stephen Nicholas Lindsay, 22, and Caleb Charters, 19, worked for Utra's authorized cannabis dispensary and conveyance administration, interstitial systems. Caleb's sibling, Curtis Chambers, 22, and Joshua James Camps, 23, were additionally accused of homicide, abducting, carjacking, thievery, and burglary. Just Camps faces extra improvements for his utilization of a gun. At the point when squeezed about an intention, Lieutenant Brian Cleveland stated, these individuals needed money-related addition, and exploited the circumstance. None of the blamed has a criminal record. 3 fat marks follow. In November 2019, an Oakland conman was condemned to life for a twofold crime at a Mendocino pot ranch. There was a trick, the ranch was phony. Wing Wo Man, 53, otherwise known as Fat Mark, obtained cash from Jim Tat Kong for different bombed attempts from land plan to pot ranches. Dreading requital for the failure to reimburse the credits, Fat Mark picked duplicity and savagery. Fat Mark drove Kong and Kong's better half, Cindy Baofeng Chen, to a far-off region outside Fort Bragg, where he asserted he had another cannabis develop. While the financial specialists sat in their minivan, Ma put a slug in every one of their heads. 3 cigarettes recuperated at the scene contained Fat Mark's DNA. During the preliminary, proof developed that Fat Mark had been paying off Harry Hu, a previous Oakland Police Department lieutenant, since 2008. Fat Mark met with Hu days after the Mendocino twofold manslaughter. 2 family affair. On February 28, 2020, police showed up at the Savage, Minnesota Target to find a 16-year-old shot in the head. Samuel Keyser, imagined, kicked the bucket in the wake of being moved to Hennepin County Medical Center. Film shows Keyser being pushed from a vehicle that fled the scene. Specialists followed the vehicle to Bray Allen Miller, 17. Police captured Bray Allen, yet in addition his dad Turan Miller, 44, and his mom, Tanya Marie Miller, 43. Bray Ellen admitted to masterminding the cannabis exchange over Snapchat. Turan confessed to discharging the deadly shot, since he thought the 16-year-old planned to remove the pot and run from the vehicle without paying. Police accused Bray Ellen of helping and abetting second-degree murder. Tanya Marie deals with indictments of helping a guilty party to stay away from capture and supporting a wrongdoer as an associate afterward. Turan's hunch was right. As per Keezer's partner, the arrangement was to move the cannabis and flee. One buzzkill in 1933, Victor Licata Hacht separated his folks and 3 kin in their Ybor City home. The hatchet murder made ready for cannabis denial. A hypothesis that 21-year-old's activities were the consequence of cannabis-initiated days earned him the name, the Dream Slayer. Licata's horrendous axe murders propelled the infamous 1936 against pot publicity film Reefer Madness. In any case, Licata's activities were the consequence of psychological sickness, not Mary Jane. Police attempted to submit him in 1932, yet his family can't. Recognizing the likely threat, Licata's fat